What's up, my beautiful Do Life in a Body You Love chicks? Today, we are going to talk about something that can make your weight loss journey so much more effective, growing a business, changing your relationships, working on your finances. I don't care what the goal is. I don't care what the goal is. Here's the deal. If you are working in collaboration with other chicks who are trying to do the same thing that you are, it is magic, absolute magic. And I am not like a group work person. Okay. In school, I hated group work, hated it. I'm a very social person, but when it comes to getting something done, I'm like, just let me do it. Like, get out of my way. Let me do the thing. I'm sure you guys can tell I'm like a do it my way or don't do it at all kind of person. Right. And so, and group work drove me crazy. I hated it. I felt like somebody's always the slacker. Somebody else has to always pick up the slack. It just seemed so time consuming, and I don't know. I just like to get things done my own way. And so before I had ever entered into a group coaching container, I was like, ew, I don't like, if I ever hire a coach, I don't want to be in a group. And then the very first coaches that I had were all group, and I loved it. And I was very, very reluctant to switch my Keep It Off Academy to a group model because, again, I loved my one-on-one time with my clients. And I was like, there's no way this works better. Group work's stupid. And now I'm obsessed with it. And here, I want to tell you why that is. And I'm not saying you need to go enter some group coaching container, but what I am saying is that you need to have people in your corner who are doing the thing that you're trying to do. And it's really powerful if you have some people who are ahead of where you want to be, and maybe eventually you're kind of in the middle, and then there's people ahead of you and there's people behind you. And I'll explain why that's so magical as we move through these. But probably the thing that I have loved most about holding a group container for other women is that they get to see that, like, the way that their brain works is totally normal. Like, don't we all have those thoughts or those struggles where we think, I have to be the only person who's struggling with this? Like, there's no way everybody else feels this way or thinks this way or whatever. We think like we're uniquely crazy, and it turns out, no, it's not true at all. Most of us have, well, not that we all have the same thoughts, but there will be like collections of women who have the same thought processes or the same self-sabotage or the same struggle with a different behavior. And what I've noticed is that on our calls, like, because we have a group call once a week within our program, somebody will be being coached and they'll be sharing something that is like very bothersome to them. And they're just like, I don't know why my brain is thinking like this, but this is what happens, and blah, 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 blah. And here they're thinking like that this is unique to them. And like 3 or 4 other women will chime in and be like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what happens to me. That's the exact thought I have in that situation. How crazy is that we're all thinking this way? So why is that so cool to know? Well, then you don't feel so alone. So when I talk about not feeling alone, when you have a tribe of women supporting you, yes, I mean, going and having somebody to talk to, yeah, that's great. But when you can see that, like, you really, really resonate with other women who are on the same like struggle as you are, that makes you not feel alone. That makes you feel truly connected, because you're like, you get me. Wow. Nobody else around me gets me. My husband does not understand why this bothers me so much, or why I can't just stop doing X, Y, or Z. My mom doesn't get it. She's always badgering me about this. My friends are doing, X, Y, and Z. So when you connect with other women who are thinking the way that you're thinking, it's like, whoa, it feels insanely good. And then what happens is, because these are not unique thoughts, they're a thought that you're having and it's important, but you're not the only person having this. It's something that's been seen before. So when you have a collection of women who are working together, you're like, oh, okay, well, this and this and this has helped me. You could give this a try. Or there are steps that you can take to start shifting those thoughts into something that's going to serve you better and help you along on your journey a whole lot easier and faster and more effectively. Now, the other thing is that it normalizes the behavior that you're trying to start having. So this doesn't even need to be like in like a group coaching setting. This could be happening for you in a gym where there's like group classes. This could be happening for you if you put together some sort of like accountability group with some women that you're friends with who are trying to do the same thing. But like when you see other people behaving in a way that you want to behave, it normalizes that behavior and it makes it easier to then go implement that. So all the silly things that we hear say all the time, like you are the sum of the 4 people that you spend the most time with, blah, blah, blah. Well, why is that? Well, because you will do what's around you in your environment or what you see modeled. So some people think it's perfectly normal and natural to smoke cigarettes because they were raised around it and everybody that they know smokes cigarettes. But then if you're trying to stop smoking cigarettes, it's really hard if everybody around you is. Well, if you were in a different circle, which I'm not saying if you're trying to stop smoking cigarettes that you just cut everybody out of your life, but if you're around other people who view smoking as gross and unhealthy and just like something that you don't do, it's so much easier to not do it, not only because it's not around you, but it is viewed in a different way. So as much as we would like to be like, we're all independent thinkers, I'm a very independent thinker. I am still subject to being part of a society and seeing how my society thinks about things. Like that affects us. It doesn't mean we have to do everything our peer group is doing, but it does make it easier to shift into healthy habits if you have healthy people around you. It's harder to do it if you don't have healthy people around you, or if it's financial. If everybody in your circle just blows money like it's going out of style and nobody has any financial literacy, and those aren't topics that are discussed, then it's going to be really hard for you to start changing your mind around money. Like this really applies to everything, but being in the same space as people who are doing the thing you want to do is insanely powerful. And then there's just the obvious, like if you have people around you who have walked the walk that you can go to for advice, so that way you don't always feel like you're guessing or you're overwhelmed, you know, those types of things, like that's of course super valuable. That could be one person. I mean, you don't need a whole group for that. You might have like one person in your corner who you're like, hey, I really like how she does X, Y, and Z. Lost weight, manages her money, her relationship with her spouse, whatever. And it doesn't mean that like that person's approach is going to work for you. But if you see somebody's approach and you're like, that actually might work for me, then lock arms with that person, have them give you some mentorship. Like, here's the thing, as human beings, we don't need to be reinventing the wheel. There's so much information and there's so many people that you can access who have a knowledge base that can help you, who have a skill set that can help you, that you don't have to go try to be an expert at every single thing that's important to you in life. I am not, nor will I ever be a financial expert. I'm in that category where you're just like, you make it, you spend it, right? Like I'm terrible with my money. I'm getting better. Okay. But I'm never going to be the financial wizard. That is not my role. I cannot help people with that. But I don't need to go get like my bachelor's degree in finance or economics. Like I have some peers who are super good with their money, and I talk to all of them on a regular basis. Like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And then there are actual money coaches. Like I actually have one of mine that I want to hire. And so I'm going to go borrow from the knowledge of people who already have the knowledge. They're already walking the walk, because there are so many areas of my life that I want to make improvements in or that are important to me that it would take me my whole entire life to go become an expert in all of those. Like what? I'm going to go study every area of life that's important to me for 5 years before I have enough knowledge to make any change in my life? Heck no. There are so many human beings on the planet who have the knowledge base that you want. You lock arms with them and shortcut things, like use people as resources. And then the benefit of having like a whole team of women behind you is that even the people who aren't necessarily experts, quote unquote, but they do have life experience to share with you from the journey that they've been on that they can share. Or sometimes you might even have more knowledge than somebody. But because this other person is outside of you and they're outside of your situation, they can be an objective sounding board. I see this happen on our group calls all the time. One woman might be struggling with a certain issue, and when she hears another woman talking about the same issue, even if she hasn't totally figured it out for herself yet, because she's outside of it and she can detach emotionally, she can see the picture so much more clearly when somebody else is talking about it. And she'll come up with like an amazing idea and share it with that person. And it's like, oh, and now it helped the person that was speaking, but it also helped the person who was thinking through it, who was helping to problem solve. So like, I just have so many like examples like that of things that I see clicking for people when women are working in collaboration. Now, am I saying you can only work in collaboration with women? No, absolutely not. I primarily deal with weight loss. Women don't tend to want to talk about that stuff with dudes. And so we just work with women. If you're working on something that's not quite as personal and you're comfortable working with men, fine. Have an awesome tribe of men and women in your corner. It depends on what the topic is and what you're comfortable with. But I've seen magic work when chicks are on the same page, supporting one another, cheering each other on, letting each other know, hey, I've got you. Like, what you're going through is something that I went through before. I was in the same spot that you are right now, like 3 months ago, 3 years ago, whatever. Trust me, there's light at the end of the tunnel. If you can just stay the course, like you're going to get there. That's so much more powerful than trying to go it alone and then always feeling like you're guessing and always feeling like you're not good enough or feeling like you're just like failing at things. When you have people who are like, no, that's really not that bad. Like here's what we can do about it. And you're like, oh, okay. And it drives you to keep going. That's different than like listening to a motivational speech on YouTube, which I'm not knocking. That's great. If you get motivation from like rah talks, I'm all about it. I love that kind of stuff. I just don't think it really moves the needle all that much because it gives you like a feeling that then fades. Where when I'm talking about like collaboration, I'm talking about like getting into the nitty gritty, truly supporting one another, checking in on one another and being like, hey, I know you are struggling with this. How are you doing? Like having that level of support from people who want to see you win. It is powerful. I don't even have like a good explanation for why it works so well. I mean, I have a lot of ideas. I just shared a few of them with you of why I think that it works so well and why it's so important. But honestly, it's so darn powerful that I'm not even sure that I fully understand it. But like switching my Keep It Off Academy to a group coaching program is the best thing that I ever done for the women that we serve in this program. Everybody thinks they're going to hate that. And it ends up being people's favorite part. Like people want to stay longer than 13 weeks because they love being a part of the tribe. And so this was the point of this podcast episode was not to be like, oh, you need to be in our group program. No, our program might not be the thing for you. Like the way we do weight loss might not be for you. Or maybe you're not working on weight. You have something else that you're working on. I would encourage you to look and go, well, where can I find a tribe of humans that can support me on this? The best group is going to include people who are ahead of you. People who have true expertise would be insanely valuable. But if you can't find that, even just having a group of women who are like, hey, we want to make a change in this and we want to do it in this way. And so let's all work together and at least encourage each other and help each other problem solve. Set a certain amount of time that you're going to work together. Set a certain amount of times that you're going to like actually talk and do it. So if it's just a few friends, maybe you have a group message and you're like, let's do this for 1 month. Or maybe you put together like a walking group. Oh, what is that app called? Meetup. Maybe you put together like a meetup group And you're like, okay, so we're going to meet once a week. We're going to go for a walk. It's for women who are like this age, whatever. And this is the intention. This is what we're working on. And you can like talk about those things while you go on your walk. I don't know. There's like a million ways to come up with a collaborative group of people. But I'm telling you, if you're trying to make sustainable change in your life, like change is hard. Your brain does not like change. Like nobody's brain likes change. Even if the change that you're making is simple, even if it's highly beneficial, even if it's way better for you than whatever you're currently doing, it doesn't matter. Your brain is still going to try to trick you and keep you stuck. And having people to be a sounding board and show you what you really are doing right is really important to help you troubleshoot when things aren't going right, because with anything worth doing is going to be difficult. And you're going to have to pivot and make shifts and know what you're doing and make some strategy. And having women to bounce those ideas off is like so impactful. So I thank you for being a part of my tribe. Like if you're listening to this podcast, we're probably connected in some way, shape, or form. Maybe you're also in the Simplified Fat Loss group and I get to connect with you there. Maybe you're somebody who actually responds to one of my emails once in a while and it fills me in on how you're doing. Like, I don't know, but I thank you for being part of my tribe. Okay. And go get whoever you need to have in your corner to make the changes that you want to make. And by the way, if you're being that person for other people, that's going to light you up too. Women need other women. Okay. We're not meant to work in isolation. We're not meant to live in isolation. I think the last few years gave us a really great social experiment on that, right? We do better as a collective. So get a tribe, find a tribe, do whatever you can to start building that tribe, ladies. It will literally change everything for you. Okay. That's it. I would love to hear what you guys think of this one. Let me know. I will catch you all here. Same time, same place.